Hi folks, my name's Dan Branton and I'm a Solutions Architect here at Uptime Software, and this is another tech tip video for working with Uptime. If you joined us for our first two videos, we've been looking at service level agreements and how we can use those to provide non-IT users with a high level overview of the environment in a way that makes sense to them without letting them get bogged down in the details of all the service monitors, elements, and metrics that we're collecting with Uptime. And then we'll take a look at the detailed SLA summary report and go through some common questions that folks might have about the information contained within. So the first part of giving our non-IT users a view of just the SLAs within Uptime is we need to make sure that the service level agreements are all together in their own element folder, like you can see here in the My Infrastructure tab. If you haven't done that already, you may need to create an element group, call it something like SLAs, and then add your elements to it. So now that we've got our element group all set up and SLAs in it, it's time to go create the user group that's going to share permissions to it to our actual new user. So to do that, I've gone to the Users tab, I clicked Add New User Group, and I'm going to give my user group a name, and in this case I'm just going to call it just SLAs because that's nice and simple. And then I can add either users, which I'm not going to do quite yet because I'm going to create a user just for this, and then I can either add elements or entire element groups. So in this case I'm going to pull my SLAs folder in, and then I'm going to go down and I'm going to click Save to finish creating my user group. So now that we've got our user group created, it's time to go create a new user and add them to the group. So first thing I need to do is I need to give my user a name. In this case, I'm just going to call them just SLAs, just like the user group I created as well, just to keep things clear here. Choose a password. And then normally I'd have to go and provide an email address to this user, but in this case, I don't really need to send emails to this person, so I'm going to uncheck the user should receive alerts, and then I don't need to provide an email address. Now, we're going to do two things here. We're going to give them a user role so that they have view-only permissions into Uptime, and then I'm going to add them to my just SLAs user. So the last thing I'm going to do here with my new user is change their default login dashboard from the My Portal to the SLAs dashboard, so that when they log into Uptime, they're going to be taken directly to the SLAs and see exactly what I want them to see, and they're not going to get lost anywhere in the GUI. So now let's save our user, and we're done here. And now it's time to log out of Uptime as the admin user. So now that I'm logged in as my new user, I land right on the SLAs dashboard as I expected, and I can see what's going on with my service level agreements overall. I go to the global scan, and the only elements I see here are those same SLAs, and the same thing if I go to the My Infrastructure. I can see the SLAs folder and the SLA elements contained within. So that worked as expected. My users only got views to the service level agreements. So now let's go take a look at the actual detailed report itself for the website SLA and see what that shows me for the past week's worth of data. So now we've got the service level agreement detailed report open in front of us, and let's take a quick read through and see what this report shows us. So the first thing we'll look at here is the SLO for the website backend, and we can see that there's been no outages overall for this service level objective or either of the two service monitors pulled into it. But then if we look at the retained variable graph down below, we can see there's a period of time where this monitor should have been critical because we can see there's less than one instance of the MySQL process running on the server. But we don't see this show up in our service level objectives overall. Now why is that? Well, if we look at the monitoring period that we had set up on the SLA, it's set from Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And if we look at the time of this outage, it occurred at around 1:30 in the morning, so it falls well outside of that monitoring period, and that's why it doesn't show up as a service level objective here. Alright, so let's take a look at our service level objective for the website front end. The first thing I'll notice is that we've been in an overall outage for this SLO since 6 o'clock this morning when the monitoring period kicked in, and that's coming from the HTTP check monitor running against demo Apache 01. And if I scroll down and take a look at the retained variable with rules, I can see exactly what the response time was across that period of time. Thanks again for joining us for another tech tip video for working with Uptime. If you have any questions, please visit our website at www.uptimesoftware.com or email us at info@uptimesoftware.com.